Okay, you can see jail has greatly affected Donna Adelson. So let's dig into these two motions, the phone call and the bond. Let's start with the bond. Since we hear that clip, she's saying that she's been assaulted by another inmate. She's talking about all of her different medical conditions, saying she's not getting the proper treatment for those conditions. Everything seems to be a problem for Donna. Let's bring in our attorney guests. I'm so pleased to have on the show this morning attorneys Michael J. Brown and John Phillips. Good morning to you both. All right, so let's tackle both of these issues. Let's start with the bond, and then we'll get to that creepy jail call. With regards to the bond, Michael J. Brown, should she be let out?
Absolutely not. Good morning, Julie. Good morning, John. I think she's going to strike out on this issue. You know, the issue always is risk of flight and will she return to court? I think her actions demonstrate that the answer is absolutely not. She had a one-way ticket to Vietnam. You hit the points in your opening statement. She had a one-way ticket to Vietnam. She had no intention to come back. Plus, you couple that with the jail call, which was unbeknownst to her recorded, where she's talking again about escaping the country to a location specifically that can't extradite her to the U.S. Everything she knows and has is in the state of Florida, and this is her country. Her family, her assets are all in the state of Florida. So clearly, if anybody is a risk of flight, I would think she is. So I don't think there's going to be any amendment of her bail conditions at this point, quite frankly.
I couldn't agree with you more, Michael. John Phillips, feel free to disagree if you do, but do you agree that Mama Donna needs to stay put?
She does. She needs to hang out in the beautiful jails in Florida. You know, Michael took all the good answers. I had even looked up the extradition treaty myself, and Vietnam does not have one with the United States. And certainly if you're talking about a way ticket and not a return trip, that tells you something about intent to flee and remain a Vietnam permanent tourist. So yeah, look, jails, and we can debate that in another segment that's not about Donna Adelson. Jails are tough, and there are some violations of civil rights that go along with being in jail, but it's not gonna get you a bond in this instance.
Sure. Right, John, right. The beautiful jails in Florida, you cracked me up. Let's listen to that answer again, right? Her answer about why she went to Vietnam, which you both, you brilliant attorneys know that prosecutor's gonna love getting to use this answer at the trial. So let's play it again for anybody who missed it.
So my husband actually had said, you know, we've been to Vietnam before with friends. We were on vacation, and it really was like a place of peace. And so he said, if we go to a non-extradition country, then if the law enforcement decided that they wanted to arrest you or me, whatever, both, he said, we won't be sitting in a foreign prison waiting months to go back. We could buy a ticket and we can go home. And my understanding was that I could go home and I could turn myself in if that's what they wanted.
All right, and what's your reactions to that answer she gave right there? John Phillips, what were you thinking when you heard that?
Yeah, I mean, just keep talking, please. Prosecutors don't have to prove motive. They don't have to prove, intent to flee and mens rea and all the things that go through one's brain as they're trying to get away from something they allegedly, did. And here she's telling you she wants to leave, and she's already done the research that this is a non-extradition.
Oh yeah, I mean, everybody who was reacting to it yesterday, I had a couple of people reach out, like texting me going, who says that? Who says all? I mean, she lives on Miami Beach, right? She lives in Miami at the beach, and she's going, I need to relax. So we thought Vietnam, that's just the place you think of when you want to rest and relax. Michael J. Brown, what did you think of this?
I think it's going to be quite devastating at trial, Julie. Consciousness of guilt, as John hit on, that's a charge that a jury gets. And in New York, I can't tell you about Florida, but in New York, it's not a strong charge, but nevertheless, it is a charge the jury can hear. And the prosecutor, a good prosecutor, is going to take that evidence and really slam it home, because to a person on the jury, it is so damning that she bought a one-way ticket to Vietnam, and then also talks about it in that subsequent phone calls about extradition then escaping the country. It is going to be very, very damaging at trial.
Most definitely. You're absolutely right. So let's turn to the other big issue, this phone call. So she's talking to Charlie. This is in 2023 when he's behind bars. And she is not yet at this point. She thinks he's hung up the phone. As far as she says she's concerned, he was off the call. It was over. She thought it was over. She didn't hang up on her end. So the jail recording system recorded what she's saying in the background. It really tipped investigators off to her wanting to go to Vietnam. So now, does that call get suppressed? The call that indicates the plan to flee, to show that consciousness of guilt that you were just touching on, Michael J. Brown. What do you think? Does the call stay out of trial?
No, it's coming in, Julie. You know, we're always concerned as defense attorneys about government interaction and getting into your home and things of that nature without a search warrant, and that's understandable. But this is a totally different situation for the sole reason that there's no government action. She's on the phone. She knows she's being recorded. She and her son make this call, and she's having a conversation. There is no government action. And what happens is, unbeknownst to her, she's now continuing to talk and having this conversation, and it's being recorded. Too bad, so sad, but it's really on her. There is no government involvement in the sense of action, and as a result, I think it absolutely will come in. And again, that is going to be a very damning piece when you couple that with all the evidence that they may have at trial.
Oh, you're so right, so right. John Phillips, $1 million question for you. Are we going to see Donna testify at trial?
You know, there's that pesky Fifth Amendment, and by the way, Michael has had a good coffee this morning. He is on everything. But yeah, she said so much already that it seems to me her time in the system has made her think she can talk her way out of this. Certainly the jury's going to hear from her from all of her prior statements. And the question is she going to try to double down and triple down and change them around? It's leaning that way.
Right. You know, and watching her, there's part of me that, of course, like the lawyer in me is like, oh my gosh, terrible idea, don't testify, worst thing she could do. But then there's a part of me that's like, you know, maybe Donna needs to roll the dice. Some of yesterday wasn't all that bad. Michael, quick final thought from you, and we'll leave the comments on Donna here for now.
I did have a double. Thank you, John. You know what it is? I think that she comes across, there is that part of her which she has that, you know, there's a compassionate part of her. She's 75 years old. She does portray herself in a great light. I think there's some sympathy factor for her, but she's going to have a lot of explaining to do, and I don't know if she's going to get over that hurdle. But she is somewhat of a sympathetic figure. I will say that. Right,
Michael. She is. There was something I saw in Donna yesterday that kind of makes me think maybe she should go for it. We'll leave it here for now. You both are coming with us. We're so excited. Opening statements rolls on. Here's what we have coming up for you.